Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're having a good Friday. It is Friday, November 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern. We have a bullish reaction to the CPI numbers from yesterday. The broader stock market notably higher. One of the stronger two-day moves we've seen in a very long time. NASDAQ up almost 10%, up at the high of the day right now, and watching to see if we close at the high of the day or not. Previously, we would get usually sentiment gauges from how the market would close on a Friday, and then over the weekend, how crypto would trade would many times mirror what that sentiment was. So obviously we're in a unique situation in crypto right now, but we're still keeping a close eye on how we close in stocks. We can see the NASDAQ just broke a double top and is now at the highest level that we've seen in close to 3 months. No, close to 2 months. About 6 or 7 weeks. S&P 500 is a bit stronger. It is at the highest level we've seen in a bit of a longer period of time. And overall, stock market bulls are happy because we're up at the highs. So the dollar has been following through for the bears as well. So we got the initial reaction yesterday to CPI. And the question that we have is that reaction just shorts covering or is there follow through? And today we are seeing follow through, which is a good sign for market bulls. And the dollar is dropping very hard. The dollar is close to seeing first daily oversold conditions. We got to go back a long ways, pretty much 2 years since the last time we saw that. So we got the monthly inside bar bear break. The target, at least initially, is monthly EMA 12. And we are very quickly heading down towards that level. So good sign for dollar weakness, stock market strength. The negative, of course, for crypto is the fact that we got this dark cloud overhanging with everything that's been happening with FTX. A lot of people are done with the game of crypto and have been taken out by this situation. And so there is that bearish overhang, and it's resulting in Bitcoin divided by the NASDAQ, showing us that this is the weakest that Bitcoin has been compared to the NASDAQ in pretty much 2 years. So notable relative weakness down at the lows. So bulls are interested in the stock market right now. They're putting their money to work the last 2 days since the CPI reading came in. And again, why we care about CPI is if CPI keeps dropping, that increases probability that the Fed will slow the raising of rates. And so that's why the market is responding so bullish the last 2 days. So Bitcoin itself, I'm finding clarity on the 12-hour time frame. And we've got our lows. We've got our high of the bounce. And now we're watching, can the bulls form a 12-hour higher low and shape up a trend change to get a daily bounce underway? And again, that relative weakness is continuing to stand out as we are approaching the low of the day while stocks are up at their high of the day. So as far as a weekly perspective, obviously the big bear breakdown. The next support level that we're looking at after 15.5 thousand, I'm looking down at, there's a little bit around, well, as far as clear levels, I know a lot of people are looking towards 14,000, but I'm really looking towards 12,000 previous resistance, now support, as we don't have a whole lot elsewhere. We got pretty much 12 to 13s was previous resistance back in early 2020. So keeping an eye on that area. And again, watching the RSI levels, but the only reason I care about RSI right now is if we see a bunch of time frames all aligning together. So if we get weekly oversold conditions, daily oversold, 12-hour, 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute, that's what our super stack alert is essentially measuring for on our Trader Pro platform. If everything is extreme, that's when we look for temporary bottoms to be set. And so we did see Bitcoin get real extreme, but I was not interested in buying weakness, and it's perfectly fine to be sitting out right now. You know, if you're not very confident in your trading ability, there's a ton of volatility. In the last 3 days, we had a huge dump, a huge bounce. I mean, many coins bounced 20 to 40%, and now a pretty big pullback from there. But if you're not comfortable trading right now, then by all means, don't be trading and just be patiently waiting. This is the least I have traded crypto. 2022 is the least I have traded crypto in the last 5 years, ever since I first took my first trade in crypto. And I did just enter along on Bitcoin looking for a 12-hour higher low. but my stop is fairly close by. I'm going to exit if this current low breaks with any follow through of 16.3. I will exit because the premise of my trade is this is our 12-hour high or low, or I am wrong. And the reason I'm taking this trade is I haven't had a losing crypto trade in months. I also haven't had a winning crypto trade in months. I've been 2 for 2 break even in the last 2 months. But that's just been a whole lot of patience, a whole lot of not trading. And when I do place a trade, I limit my risk well. So that's my one attempt to try for 12-hour higher lows. And we'll see how it plays out over the weekend. But we've got nice clarity. I mean, as far as a technical analysis perspective, ever since we set our bottom, the most likely scenarios have been playing out. We knew to be scouting a 12-hour lower high. We knew to be watching for a loss of the hourly uptrend to be the indication that a 12-hour lower high was being set. And it's been a bit easier on some of the altcoins than on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin had an hourly uptrend and then we just fell right through it. And so where do you make an entry here? Well, I don't want to enter on the 17.1 break because at that point we're already down over 5% from the high. And then we didn't really have a nice opportunity from there, but there were weaker coins. If you look at something like ADA, we had an hourly lower high to play off of. So on this bounce, I look for the hourly lower high and my stop goes over the high of the bounce at that point. And then we confirm the hourly downtrend eventually. Nice equilibrium bear break. And that's confirming the 12-hour lower high is set. We also had 12-hour EMA 12 aligning there. So bears had nice 12-hour lower high entries. And now we are anticipating a lot of names are going to form 12-hour higher lows. Even if Bitcoin doesn't, as long as Bitcoin doesn't see a significant amount of follow through, a lot of these stronger coins have a lot of space for a 12-hour higher low. And just looking at the names that are stronger versus weaker, strongest names that I've identified, looking at Sushi, Matic, LTC, keeps holding up well, and Uni. So let's just look at those names. Sushi at this point hasn't even started 12-hour consolidation. Matic, look at how much we can pull back here. So Matic, from where we stand right now, we would have to drop 26% to see fresh lows. So we know a 12-hour higher low is the most likely scenario. This is where we scout those equilibriums. High, low, lower high, and now we scout the higher low. Hourly trend change back to the bulls is needed for a 12-hour higher low to be set. So a bull can be looking to play off the recent lows. And again, it's the same mindset. That's either the 12-hour higher low or I am wrong. And so bulls have to hold that level and then break resistance for that 12-hour higher low. So Matic has a lot of space for it. Uni has had a good day today. No 12-hour lower high yet, but once we top out, a whole bunch of space for a 12-hour higher low to form. And even LTC, a lot of space here for a 12-hour higher low. So the strongest bouncing names have the highest probability of 12-hour higher lows being the result of the next pullback. If we confirm 12-hour trend changes to the bulls, we then zoom out to the daily and we watch for daily resistances to come back into play. And you can see Matic, I mean, with where Matic stands right now, you go back a week in time, and that's where we were extremely bullish. Like we had just broken highs over 105, and we're still in that range. So there are names that are holding on really well comparatively, but it's only a few. The vast majority of names are obviously weaker, and there's a lot of bear flags out there. So ADA with one of the weaker bounces, is this a 12-hour bear flag? Well, there's a decent amount of space here as well. Let's see Mana. We know Mana's been a weaker name overall. So Mana, let's look at retracement size here. Right off 382. We know that 382 means a possible bear flag. So the names that have bounced 382 retracement or less have higher probabilities of bear flags, and the names that have bounced 50% or more have higher probabilities of 12-hour higher lows. And that's how we use Fibonacci retracements to gauge most likely scenarios. So we got a few equilibriums on the 12-hour, where 12-hour higher lows are most likely, and then we've got a lot of bears. So if I'm looking bearish, I'm looking at the weaker names, and if I'm looking bullish, I'm looking at the stronger names. Bitcoin, I just saw while I was going through here, could be a potential falling wedge type pattern on the hourly. where if this were to break bull, our 12-hour high or low would be set. So this is worth keeping an eye on into the weekend. Break bull, and the probabilities of the 12-hour high or low are a lot more likely. But then we got to deal with 12-hour EMA 12. I mean, we could just see this 12-hour tightening range tighten up all weekend and then wait until futures open before it gives us a break. Especially the names that have a wider percentage like Matic, we can trade within that range for 2-3 days very easily. So we don't necessarily have to see much resolution this weekend. We can trade sideways within the wide dump bounce range that we've been trading within. And then we'll look for a break from there. One thing that we can say is Bitcoin and crypto is not positioned well for the next time the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ see daily consolidation. Again, we just bounced 7 to 9% here over the last 2 days. So we know consolidation is inevitable. And when we do see that daily consolidation, if it happens within the next 2 trading days, crypto is going to be near its lows. And again, it won't be positioned well to hold support if that daily consolidation comes into play here. So that's where the clarity is. Keep it simple. 12-hour time frame. Ethereum, scouting the 12-hour high or low. The reason I'm choosing Bitcoin for my play rather than altcoins right now is my game plan over the last couple of months has been establish a Bitcoin position. If it starts to play out on the longer term time frames that you're looking for, then I add altcoins into strength. And they haven't played out. So I haven't done a whole lot with altcoins recently. But certainly day traders in the crypto space are looking to the more volatile names because more volatility means more opportunity. The most opportunity in crypto has been the dump and now the bounce. And we know that now while we tighten up within this range, by definition with equilibriums, opportunity is decreasing. And so if you're not playing for a 12-hour high or low, and if they form, at that point you're just waiting for a break because there won't be much opportunity trading within that constricting range once we've set 3 points of that tightening equilibrium. So that is where we stand. ETHBTC, got to give a shout out to the bulls here because it is a very impressive bounce off of weekly support, heading right back up towards where we came from. And again, on the weekly perspective, this is now the most important level. When trying to gauge is Ethereum stronger than Bitcoin, that's the level. If that level is holding, Ethereum is stronger than Bitcoin, bigger picture. If that level breaks, it's a notable change and Ethereum will be weakening comparative to Bitcoin. I definitely wouldn't put it past big money bears trying to liquidate Michael Saylor. As I mentioned in the last live stream, he has a bullseye on his head now. And now that we're down at these levels, bears are going to do everything that they can to try and flush this down as much as possible to get that. I mean, think about the holy grail prize as a trader is either a massive short squeeze if you're long or a capitulation liquidation if you're short. And so big money bears did it on Luna. They went after Luna. Big money bear did it on FTT. And there's blood in the water. And so the sharks are circling. So that is definitely a big money bear goal is trying to liquidate Michael Saylor and put a whole bunch of pressure on him. So drama's not over, that's for sure. But a notable shift in broader markets, a notable shift in sentiment of the macro market environment. It's only 2 days old. We have to see what the Fed says next FOMC meeting. Are they going to be a bit dovish with their tone? Are they going to hint to the potential that they're going to slow down a little bit now that CPI is coming down a little bit or not? That's the next thing that we're looking towards. And we got the end of the year. And oftentimes we see the end of the year rally in broader markets. So not many weeks left here. We got, 6 weeks left with a bunch of holidays mixed in. So personally going to be taking it slow into the end of the year. It's been a pause year for me overall. Just a lot of observation and a lot of learning. This is the most significant clear bear market that I've ever traded in. I was not trading during 2008 yet at that point. That's pretty much what sparked my interest in markets. But a big learning experience. And I look forward to the next bear market, capitalizing a lot more than I did on this bear market. But that's where we stand. What are you all talking about? Reading the chat room now. So capitulation, let's talk about capitulation. Simon in here saying, I don't see how crypto could ever recover. And I didn't, there were definitely the same thoughts in 2017. You had the CVID crash. You had Bitcoin going from 20,000 to 3,000. And it was, all right, it's game over. Like, we're not going back to those levels. Next thing you know, we're up 2,000%. So I will never write anything off, ever. There's always shifts in sentiments and cycles. And as many people talk about, Big Cheds talks about it a lot, the final capitulation flush is often what leads to bottoms being set. And you can find it in broader markets. I mean, we go back to the S&P 500 back in 2018. It had an end of the year absolute collapse. And when it looked the bleakest of the bleak, it was just really fast and hard. But the bleakest of the bleak, no, that's CVID, is when the bottom formed. I mean, it was just a straight off a cliff in just 2 weeks, dumping 12% straight down with no bounces. And of course, CVID, the bleakest of the bleak. And this one's different because it's slower and longer and drawn out, but there's always those shifts, and there will always be those shifts. There's a ton of bears in crypto right now, and bears are going to have to cover at some point. And so whether they cover on their terms or whether they're forced to cover remains to be seen. But once all those bears reach the price that they like, whether it's 14,000 or 11,000 or wherever it is, they're covering, as well as people establishing longer term entries, is going to put in a bottom. It's just a question at what price. And we patiently wait to see what that price is going to be. And again, I will say it ad nauseum, repeating myself forever, you don't have to nail the bottom to have significant opportunity when the cycle shifts. I made multiple years worth of gains from 12,000 to 69,000 after missing 3,000 to 12,000. I made no money as a trader from 3,000 to 12,000 after the 2020 lows. Was that? No, that wasn't the 2020 lows. That was 2018 lows, I think. It's hard to keep track of them at this point. I guess that means I'm becoming a crypto veteran. When were we at 3,000? That was 2018. Yeah. Well, both. 2020 as well. Yes, it was 2020 is what I'm referring to. When I measure retracement size, do I use the candle wicks or the bodies? The wicks. I care about the extremes of the price range. Real bodies has no bearing to me whatsoever on Fibonacci. Solana. 12 hour is where the clarity is. Bear flag. So weak bounce, we would have to hold 1237 and break 1887 to confirm a 12-hour uptrend. And again, there's tons of opportunity there. That's a 50% bounce. But obviously finding that bottom is difficult. There were a couple bottom fish opportunities off of the low. But at this point, the only play is using support. Have to play off that low and change the 12-hour trend. And then we zoom out and we know bears are going to be scouting a daily lower high. Patient bears are just waiting for daily lower highs on everything in crypto because of how much space we have for those lower highs to form. So a bear is just sitting there saying, I don't care when we bounce. I don't care what level we bounce from. But the next time we see a daily bounce, I know to be watching the 4-hour uptrend as my guide to scout a daily lower high. We also have reverse backburners, meaning first overbought conditions being used for bears. So Bitcoin hit 15-minute overbought. It marked a temporary top. We did get another little higher high from there, but we haven't seen hourly RSI get overbought yet. And again, I don't use the RSI alone as a signal. I won't look at that and say, oh, hourly RSI is at 70. I'm shorting. But I can say hourly RSI is at 70. I'm scouting a short. And then I zoom in. Maybe I find a 5-minute head and shoulders that allows me a top fish. Maybe I find a 5-minute rising wedge that shows me bull exhaustion. But I start to zoom in and pay extra attention when I get that one little clue. And bears will be watching for first 4-hour overbought conditions to mark a bear entry opportunity. So just one time frame at a time. And at this point in time, I'm on the 12-hour. And we're watching to see how these tightening 12-hour ranges play out over the next 2 to 3 days heading into next week. I wouldn't say TA is difficult with all these fundamental issues. It's faster and harder moves, but the most likely scenarios have been playing out ever since we found that bottom. Finding the bottom was difficult, which is why I didn't try to play the bounce, because RSI was meaningless. My edge as a bounce trader, RSI is a big factor in that. And so as soon as we have, the big fear and fundamental event here, RSI is much less helpful. And so I know, okay, one of my tools is gone. And so one of my edges is dulled, a dulled trading edge. And so I just didn't attempt it. But once the bounce started, we've gotten the most likely scenario. The hourly uptrend confirmed. All right, zoom out, scout the 12-hour lower high. Look for a loss of the hourly uptrend to indicate the 12-hour lower high. We got it. All right, now we're pulling back. Scout the 12-hour higher low. Watch for an hourly trend change back to the bulls for a 12-hour higher low to shape up. So technical analysis is still giving us clarity. It's just a faster and more volatile environment. But for me, technical analysis is the only thing that keeps me from just completely throwing my hands up in the air and saying I have no idea, because that's where I'm finding the clarity. CHZ has been one of the stronger names, I believe, as well. Yeah, big 12-hour bounce. Have we confirmed an hourly downtrend yet? No. We lost the hourly uptrend, but bears have not confirmed the hourly downtrend. If we confirm an hourly downtrend, we zoom out, we scout a 12-hour higher low with lots of space for it to form. Without even needing to measure, I can see that this bounce is roughly 50% retracement. So that gives us the space for a 12-hour higher low. There is, I mean, Brian's pointed out there's a lot of opportunity in FTT as well. Only for experienced traders that are disciplined enough to use stop losses, but there's been a huge amount of volatility, 100% bounces, multiple 100% bounces. So again, if you can position yourself where, if I've got 10% risk and I've got a stop set and my reward is 80% potential, 50% potential, 30% potential, all of those are valid trades. Also, you can say, I have no interest in doing anything with FTT, and I certainly wouldn't fault you in the slightest. That makes a whole bunch of sense. But an experienced trader that's just going off numbers and utilizing stops, there's definitely opportunity here as well. Has trading always been fun for me? Yeah. For the most part, yes. This year, no. I'm not having fun trading this year. And it's a big eye-opener. A lot of it has to do with the market environment, obviously. People losing money is not fun. Everybody making money is fun. Having a good time with everybody, celebrating. But I'm honestly having, what's the psychology? Is survivorship guilt? Is that a thing? Something along those lines where, I'm fine through all of this, but I feel terrible being an empath and seeing friends getting absolutely crushed and disheartened and, losing the will to keep trading and having it very negatively impact their lives. So I am not having fun at all in this market environment. And I will again at some point, but it's a very notable shift. It's probably the first time in 9 years that I have not had fun trading. And my results show that. Definitely. So that's something that I'm going to be reflecting upon when the year is done here. There's a lot going on for me psychologically this year that was not going on over the last 7 to 10 years. So things are changing, definitely. And so we have to reflect upon that and learn lessons from it and see what the takeaways are. But yeah, that's been a big one for me. It's a timely question because over the last 2 days, I've been sitting and reflecting. I think last night in the hot tub, I was reflecting, I'm not having fun right now. So good question, X. Sentiment on crypto farming companies. I think if crypto is in the name, sentiment is bearish. Thanks, geographer. Appreciate you too. What is the likelihood the bottom is in? 29% chance. 35% chance. How's the farm going? It's good. It's more of just a big garden, but waiting for frost to kill everything off before clearing a bunch of stuff out, remulching the garden, and pretty much cleaning up all the leaves and getting ready for spring. Thanks, X. I appreciate that a lot. Glad you're having fun. Wouldn't it be better if you can do technical and fundamental analysis both? There's a spectrum. Technical analysis, fundamental analysis. The only two wrong places to be on this spectrum is at either extreme. Only technical or only fundamental. That's the bad place to be. Anywhere on there, otherwise, depends on the individual, that's the place to be. I'm not 100% technical. I follow the fundamentals of the cannabis sector. I obviously follow the fundamentals of the crypto space. I don't dive into the deep, complex technicalities of crypto, but I'm following the fundamentals. So I would say I'm 85% technical, 15% fundamental, and that suits me well. So just don't be extreme and shun the other side of the spectrum. That's when you're wrong. But you could be 50-50, you could be 85 fundamental, 15 technical. There's no wrong spot to be. It depends on you as an individual and what your area of expertise is. How do I deal with being unable to short crypto during a bear market? I just trade way less. I don't know how, but in 2018, I was green, only trading long. How do I exercise emotional control? I'm trading stocks. If I wasn't trading stocks, it would be a lot harder to be disciplined and I would be over trading crypto. That's a easy statement. If I was not trading stocks, I would be over trading crypto and I would be down a good bit this year. But I trade stocks. And I've shorted, I shorted coin a couple days ago. I did not hold it long enough. That day where it really dumped 2 days ago. I think it was 2 days ago. So I can get bear exposure through those names. But it's just not trading. It's just waiting for the market environment to shift and preserving capital in the meantime. Yeah, it's just capital preservation. Just stay in the game and make it through the bear market. Are there lessons to learn on how to avoid this type of risk in the future? So the FTX risk. So there are. Diversification, spreading out your funds in multiple places. But the reason I have been a very adamant, I don't know the right word, but I've been talking a lot of smack about Coinbase because I really dislike it as an exchange and as a company, but I've stayed there. And everybody kept asking me, why are you still on Coinbase? It's because I've got $250,000 of FDIC insurance. If it goes under, the government is going to give me that money. It's a backstop. It's my stop loss on my cash sitting in my account. So that's the reason I've stayed. And, people, why aren't you on FTX and just use a VPN? I'm not going to lie and risk my capital. Even if it's a very low risk, it's just not worth it. I'm in the point of my trading career where I will never put a significant amount of my capital at risk to try and see more profits. So I have been very begrudgingly sitting on Coinbase for the last 2 years and still using it as a service because it gives me the protection that other exchanges didn't give me. And in hindsight, every time something like this happens, it reminds me, yeah, that's why you're on an exchange you don't like at all. But that's really, I'm interested to see how Fidelity pivots here because we know Fidelity is going to be introducing crypto trading and Bitcoin and Ethereum. Maybe they become a player in this space. I would trust Fidelity way more than any of these new exchanges. New exchanges meaning just, new companies over the last 5 years versus a company that's decades old and very established. Yes. Do I only trade longs in crypto because I don't trust the exchanges that offer shorting? Yes. As Bitcoin keeps dropping in value, won't that cause more margin calls across exchanges, leading to more liquidations? Absolutely, that's a possibility. And every $1,000 we drop on Bitcoin puts pressure on more longs. And again, Sailor's at the top with the bullseye on his forehead. I've never heard of B Pro. I'm assuming I'm going to look at this chart and say there is not much liquidity. So it is as bearish as it gets. It is at the lowest level in years. It is much weaker than Bitcoin. And it's a falling knife. So we've been in a perpetual downtrend forever. Weekly downtrend, daily downtrend, monthly downtrend, 4-hour downtrend, hourly downtrend. So you don't want to be looking long on something that is in a downtrend on every single time frame and in an area where there is zero support. If I'm a bear, what coins would I look at? All of these ones. Ape, Doge, GMT, Wave, Sand, Mana, Theta, XTZ. Those bounces. That was from, I made that list 8 hours ago, so things may have changed on some of them, but for the most part, they were the weaker 12-hour bounces. Look at XTZ. That's a 12-hour bear flag. Bulls have to hold the low and break the high of the bounce, but anything that is under, the bear opportunity was 12-hour lower highs. If you didn't grab a 12-hour lower high, you missed the bear entry, and now you have to patiently wait. I mean, if you didn't grab the 12-hour lower high, at this point, you hope for a 12-hour uptrend to confirm so you can zoom out and scout a daily lower high. The bear entry was this morning for that 12-hour lower high, or last night, depending on the coin. Thanks for the support, Rachel. 5 years. Pete hates Coinbase as well, but that FDIC insurance, it's the safety blanket. If you're switching from trading crypto to trading stocks, Google TheChartGuys, trading crypto to trading stocks, and an hour-long in-depth video. I guess I'll do it and post it real quick. Videos, boom, boom, link in the comments if you are interested in going from crypto to stocks. Any targets for dollar cost averaging Bitcoin for long term? You're certainly starting now. Fear is a DCA's best friend. And you can just break it up by 10% every month, whatever it's going to be. Yep, definitely cannabis fundamentals. Glad they were helpful, Rachel. I mean, the cannabis, in the Canadian cannabis, I exited right at the top because of the fundamentals, because it was a sell the news event on the first day of sales. So that was a huge impact of fundamental analysis in conjunction with technicals, knowing how extended we were. Thanks, Arcadia. Appreciate the support. Will Fidelity offer shorting crypto? I doubt it initially. It'll probably take a while. Fidelity will have a 1% spread, but you just have to use limit orders. You have to buy on the bid and sell on the ask, and it'll be fee-free, which will be nice. But it'll be limit orders. Like GDAX used to be free limit orders. Generally, I would market buy capitulation bottoms, and then I would scale out limit sell orders on the ask. Thanks, Fabrizi. Do I think we see a new Bitcoin all-time high by 2025? I mean, why even? It's such a pointless question, in my opinion, because anybody, like, when do you think you're going to die? It's just such a useless question. It's speculation. That's just a wild guess. Nobody knows the answer. You know, people like to think, people go to the YouTubers that make those claims because they think, oh, this person knows more than me. They don't. They have a platform. They're going to regurgitate whatever's in their brain that makes people click their videos, but it's just made up. They don't have any idea more than you do. Even the good ones. All these on-chain metrics, we're going 100,000 plus. Get out of here. You have no idea. I don't have any idea. I go by an hour-by-hour basis. Every hour gives me more information. I can determine probabilities. I can position myself in low-risk, high-reward scenarios, but I have no idea what's going to happen. Every trade I enter, I have no idea what's going to happen. I have what I think is going to happen. But, I mean, looking 3 years out, we might all be dead. Who knows? That's not my game. Prediction on Solana. Nope. Do I remember when I got aggressive in 2020? I don't think I did for a long time. I did DCA into the S&P 500 because I had an IRA that was all cash and I had never established long-term no-touch positions, and that went well. But aside from that, I don't think I got aggressive for a long time. Oh, with Bitcoin, I got aggressive. It was an equilibrium. Bitcoin gave us a beautiful equilibrium, long and drawn out. Again, I love equilibriums. The longer and more drawn out, the more trusting I am of them. And it was right here. And it was just this for all of September into October, and right here, that's my go signal. Equilibrium bull break. And then I just use the daily higher lows as my stop, and next thing you know, easy peasy for bulls. Tips for establishing a daily routine for crypto as it's open 24/7. Limit yourself. Well, it depends on your goals, right? So when I was looking to be real aggressive and smash the opportunity in 2017, I sacrificed my health and mental well-being to take advantage of an opportunity I knew would not last, which means I did insane things. I woke up every 2 or 3 hours if there was volatility on certain nights. I would nap often during the day. I was living in a community house at the time, and we would have parties, and I would leave the party and go out to my shed. I was living in a shed and would trade the opportunities and buy a position, set a stop, go back into the party. And so I was sacrificing my social life. I didn't touch a woman for over a year during that time period. I was sacrificing my sleep schedule and my mental health. And I knew it got to a certain point where I was hoping the all-time high would get set. Because, all right, I've made significant gains. I can't keep this up. This is not sustainable. And once the top was hit, then I re-established my life and routine. So if you're trying to have, I mean, this obviously isn't the market environment to be doing that unless you're a good bear trader and an aggressive bear. But it's at this point in time, if it's, if I see volatility is coming and likely overnight, too bad. I'm not taking that trade. If it's something where I have to wake up from my normal sleep hours, it's a non-trade for me. So trades in crypto have to happen in a certain time window for me to have any interest. Otherwise, it's just an automatic no. And that just goes back to discipline. So establish a routine where, I wake up in the morning and I get on the charts and I catch up with everything and I do my analysis and I see, okay, what's the most likely scenario? Am I going to see a setup today that is going to give me a potential benefit or a good trade with risk and reward? And if not, then I just don't trade it. So I'm just way more picky. And that means my profits are less significant. It means I'm trading less often, but it's sustainable. I can do this for years on end. Whereas the aggressive style, certainly very limited. Can't do that for a prolonged period of time. Do I question whether somebody like myself could be doing something more interesting and better for the world than trading? Yes. I help answer that. I help fill that void by doing this and interacting with people and helping people. I will do other things in life later in life that benefit the world more. But yeah, I wouldn't be, if it weren't for the chart guys and if it weren't for interacting with you all, I wouldn't be trading right now. Definitely not. I would have achieved my goals and ridden off into the sunset, and I'd be doing something else right now. So it is the interaction that is keeping me around. But there are other things in life for me. You know, there will be a time where I go cold turkey and stop looking at markets for a significant period of time. And I'll either be road tripping around Europe or I'll be, working for a nonprofit in town here or whatever it is. I have no idea. But this is just a chapter. Different chapters in life. And this one will eventually come to an end. But not quite yet. Will I be dancing soon? I am going to a funk show tonight, so yes. A couple good bands. If I'd held alts through the drop, would I sell? I would establish a game plan. I would establish a clear stop level where I would exit if it drops down to a certain level. We have to mitigate our risk. So if you are in a tough spot because you didn't have a game plan, the quickest answer is establish a game plan as fast as possible to gain some control. Do I think we're going to see the same structure as 2018 where we bottom and then trade sideways for a long time before the bulls? It's happened enough times in crypto where it's definitely something to be watching for. And we also have, the broader stock market could give us an equilibrium. Look at the 4-month time frame for SPY. I'm not going to rule out a 4-month higher low, a 4-month lower high. Next thing you know, we're halfway through 2023 and we're range bound. That's entirely possible. Do I think there's more opportunity in the cannabis sector than in crypto right now? I'd say so. Just because, CGC is up almost 100% from its lows. We're up 87% in a few weeks. We're putting in a longer term bottom. There's plenty of great shorts as well. I shorted the CGC 2-minute rising wedge today and it was a beauty. And again, it's fee free. Shorted at 420, covered half at 409, stopped out of the other half when bulls kept their control. But there's plenty of opportunity in both directions. Right before this live stream, nope, never mind. Stopped out break even at 418. I would have stopped out for a loss if I didn't exit break even right before the stream. Long story short, there's opportunity in cannabis, yes. And the best thing for cannabis is that it's just one headline. My biggest day gain of 2022 was the headline and then market buying when Biden says he's pardoning, whatever that news was, which in the end wasn't significant news, but it caused a short squeeze and things went up 35% in an hour. And so you have that possibility where all it takes is one headline. Okay, we're rescheduling cannabis, or cannabis has been descheduled, or we're passing the SAFE Act, and then you get your rally for the bulls. So we don't really have that in crypto. What's the headline for crypto that's going to cause the entire crypto market? You would need Amazon or Apple to do something with it, but after what just happened, certainly not holding my breath for that. What's the possibility of Bitcoin dying? It won't ever die, but it can become irrelevant. I have never been, I like the idea, I like the story of Bitcoin, but I have never been an adamant believer. And that's what's kept me from emotional attachment. I don't short, I use Fidelity for shorting stocks, but I don't short crypto because you can't get FDIC insurance and a good exchange that allows shorting in the US. So if you want to look short and you're looking aggressive and you don't want to wait for a daily lower high, you're looking for, I'd look for a coin where I can find a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce. So like just using ADA as an example, I'd look for a 4-hour lower high compared to 38 and then hope to follow through with continued 4-hour downtrend. But I don't love it as a high probability trade. I would be much more confident with the risk and reward after a daily bounce. That is correct. The $250K insurance on Coinbase is only backing funds held as cash. But I am a day trader, short-term trader, and so that's usually what my position is. Futures broker, I don't have a good one off the top of my head. A lot of the other chart guys and gals, team members like Lori and Lamont, they know a lot better than I and can give you better advice. They're not here right now. But I'm not in with the futures world enough to know that off the top of my head. Drinking extra water to help you wake up in the middle of the night. That was a trick I used, absolutely. I have considered trading a broker that allows linking to TradingView. I probably will. One thing I'm struggling with my Fidelity accounts is having my IRA long positions and my day trading account right next to each other, because I'll see something like a big green day and clearly the direction is bull, but it's like, okay, well, I only have long exposure in my IRA, so I want to protect it a bit in case we top out here, and it's distracting me. So I do want to separate my IRA and just not look at it, set my stops on longer term time frames and just don't look at it at all, and then just focus on solely day trading. So I'm probably going to be looking to do that with the start of the new year, and I will probably stay with my IRA on Fidelity and may move day trading. I may jump into futures. I'll either jump into futures to start the year or will choose a different broker. Thanks, Morbid NFT. Nice, Rachel. Glad to hear it. Thanks for the feedback. Hugh, agree Lori is a star. You got it. Send it. Litecoin is a stronger name, absolutely. It's one of the lead bulls, and it's got a lot of space for a 12-hour higher low. Watch the retracement size on this pullback. If it's a 50% retracement from the low to the high of the bounce, then we got an equilibrium. If this retracement is only 382 or less, we can see continuation. So right now, it's a potential 12-hour bull flag. Bears need to confirm some further hourly downtrend if that 12-hour consolidation is going to get into equilibrium territory. Thanks, Blitz Motor. I've never traded with leverage. I mean, I've traded like some options and stuff before. That's leverage, but I have never traded crypto with leverage in my life. Never once. Thanks a lot, Mamush. I don't think FIFA Soccer World Cup will have anything to do with crypto. I did unintentionally short CGC at 420, yes. For newer traders, this is their first year. Absolutely, there are easier, more beneficial environments for traders. EMAs on my chart are 12 and 26. Why not put a small amount of funds onto KuCoin, and short with leverage? It's because crypto is my secondary trading vehicle. Stocks are always primary. I trade, my stock account has 5 times the funds that my crypto account has. I'm a stock trader who trades crypto. So if I were going to shift focus and now I'm focusing on this exchange and this crypto exchange, it's going to take away from my primary focus as a trader. All right, I appreciate you all. I got to get out of here for the market close. Are we still strong in the broader market? Yep, up near the highs. 5-minute follow through. QQQ leading the way. Lots of space for an hourly higher low next consolidation. And again, it's all about 12-hour higher lows at this point for crypto. Burden's certainly on bulls. I hope you have a great weekend. I appreciate you all tuning in. Thanks for the likes. We're over 100. I didn't even have to ask. It's a good day. Don't forget to do good things. And again, show some compassion and empathy for everyone in the crypto space, many of which have had their lives turned upside down in the past couple of days.